Hey everyone, Harry here. Today we're going to be talking about percentages. The word percent comes from the Latin per centum, which meant by the hundred. Today we use the abbreviation percent to mean out of 100. Before we talk about percentages, we need to talk about ratios. A ratio is simply how many times one number goes into another. There are two main ways to express ratios. There's the notation with a colon and there are fractions. The notation with the colon looks like this. This simply means A to B. Or, more importantly, how many times does B go into A? In this notation, A is called the antecedent and B is called the consequent. The second main way we express ratios is as fractions. Fractions look like this. This simply means A divided by B, or how many times does B go into A? In order to convert these two forms of ratios into percentages, we must first convert them into decimals. To do this, we simply divide A by B in both cases. For example, if we have the ratio 3 to 6, we simply take 3 and divide it by 6. This comes out to be 0.5. Sometimes you'll end up with a decimal that repeats infinitely. If this ever happens, the question will probably ask you to round it up to a certain number of decimal points before converting it into a percentage. For example, if we take the fraction 5 over 9, we simply divide 5 by 9 and we end up with 0.5 repeating. If we want to say round this up to 2 decimal places, we round it to 0.56. Now that we have the decimals, we can finally convert them into percentages. In order to do this, we take our decimal and multiply it by 100 and then add a percent sign on the end. That's it. Let's do an example with both notations. Take the ratio 4 to 5. Firstly, 4 divided by 5 gives us 0.8. Now, multiply that by 100 to get 80. Add a percent sign on the end, 80%. Now, let's try 7 over 9. Firstly, we take 7 divided by 9. We end up with 0.7 repeater. Let's round this up to 3 decimal places to get 0.778. Now, we multiply this by 100. You get 77.8. Add a percent sign on the end, 77.8%. Pause the video and convert these ratios into percentages. The answers will be at the end. Now that we have the percentages, let's find out some uses for them. Percentages are really good at comparing ratios that don't have much in common. For example, say we have two math classes. One class has a test marked out of 50 and the other has a test marked out of 60. Class A's average score is 27 out of 50 and Class B's average score is 33 out of 60. How do we know who got a better average mark? If you find the percentages, you'll see that Class A got 54% on average and Class B got 55% on average. Using percentages, we were able to easily compare two separate test marks to get an idea of who was doing better on average. It's important to recognize these percentages as individual numbers. For example, 30% is equal to 0.3, so we can perform normal mathematical operations on them. Another important usage of percentages is to find percentages of numbers that aren't 100. For example, say we want to find 50% of 90. Well, what we need to do is take the percentage and multiply it by the number. So firstly, we take 50%, which is its own number, and multiply it by 90 to get 45. No. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Have fun finding out percentages.